So we got some pretty chilly weather a few nights back, and as you can tell, it got a little bit too cold here in the high tunnel. I had the tomatoes sitting out here because it had been relatively warm, but I think they should be fine. I think they'll probably pop back from this, but just a lot of the leaves that were out here, needless to say, got a little bit too cold and got froze back. So the first ones that went in are some cherry tomatoes, and I only put in a few of those because if you've ever grown cherry tomatoes before, you know that one single plant is probably enough to supply about 10 households minimum with cherry tomatoes for about 5 years. So I definitely don't want to go with too many of those, just knowing how many you get from one plant. Now these next ones that I'm putting in now, these are paste tomatoes. And I'm going to do a couple different varieties of those. These first ones are Romas. It's the same one that I did last year. I felt that they were kind of on the small side, so I'm only going to do a few of these, but then I've also got another variety which I think should be a little bit bigger. So that'll be something new to try for this year, and hopefully be a little bit better. Alrighty, so to kind of, I guess, wrap up this video, I'm going to show what all I've got here in the garden, because I haven't shown planting everything that's in here now, and also just kind of show what everything looks like currently, because from the last gardening video to now, it's been, I don't know, a few weeks at least, from the amount of time that it was originally shot to now. And of course, in that time, a lot of the stuff has grown up quite a lot. So starting down here, kind of towards the mill house into the high tunnel, as you can see, the greens have come in pretty well. I've actually already been harvesting some of that. I've taken some of that to farmer's market. The peas, however, if you recall, I did 3 different varieties, and it's probably a good thing because they have not done equally well. The first one down here really did not germinate well. At least I'm assuming that's what it was. Maybe there was something that attacked that variety of pea, or I don't know. But the first one didn't do very well at all. The second one did okay, and then the third one did really well. So I'm not quite sure what's up with that, but there's definitely quite a lot of difference between the 3 varieties. Now, one thing that I found kind of interesting, and you may have been able to see it in some of the previous video when it was raining real hard, is that there's definitely some low spots in the high tunnel. And I think that is affecting how well some of these greens are growing. So as you can see, this is kind of where the rain comes through here, and then it kind of made it across where the peas are and then started spreading out through here. And you may be able to tell that kind of right around in this area, stuff did not grow as well. And then also kind of down around in here a little bit as well. But right in here, it's a little bit higher. And then down there, it's a little bit higher as well. And that's where stuff appears to have grown a little bit better. Whereas the stuff in the lower areas where probably it was a bit wetter, that kind of is a little bit stunted and it hasn't grown as well. And then the same thing down at this end. Again, the stuff that's closer to the edge of the high tunnel, where all this rain is, you know, sheeting off of the roof, coming down here, dropping into the ground and soaking in. The row that's furthest away from the edge, all is doing pretty darn well, but the 2 rows that are closer, those are all way shorter. And I haven't harvested anything through there. That's just the way that it's done all on its own. So I mean, just kind of observationally here, it seems that in the areas where it's more wet, stuff really is not growing so well. Now, one thing that I've thought about doing is doing some sort of a rainwater catchment. So of course that would mean putting some gutters along through there. And potentially that might kind of solve this issue where I've got my low spots, because if you don't have all that rain, you know, sheeting off and pooling along the edges, if that, you know, you're collecting that somewhere else, that might take care of these areas where it's a little bit lower and the water seems to pool. But I don't know, I just thought that was kind of interesting, kind of weird. And then down here, kind of at the end of where the greens are growing, there's some radishes in there. Just started harvesting a couple of those. I got those in kind of late from what I should have done. And then just this morning, I planted some more greens, kind of the same stuff down through there. I'm trying to kind of stagger plantings a little bit so that I've got stuff coming in. You know, when some of the original plants start to give out a little bit, hopefully I'll have some new fresh ones coming in that'll be good to go. I haven't really done that before. I mean, I know, you know, a lot of producers will do that, but I haven't done that, don't really have any experience with that. And I'm not really sure how late into the summer I can go with the greens either, or whether they're going to start to bolt or get kind of strong flavored, bitter, whatever. I don't know. We'll see. Now in front of the greens, I've got all my squash, and down at that end, I've got cucumbers, and I've actually got some little decent sized summer squash that are coming on. These are, you know, 4, 5, 6 inches. There's some zucchini down at this end that are several inches long. And one thing that I did, I don't know if it's really going to make any difference or not, but the cucumbers that I planted down here, I'm going to trellis these up. This will probably be the next gardening kind of video. So these are going to, you know, go up this direction. And I don't know if this will help at all with these new greens that I planted, because that will provide maybe a certain amount of shade, maybe keep it a little bit cooler back there. It might be better for them. I don't know if I'll really be able to tell whether or not it works, but it kind of seemed like a good idea. So that's where I planted them and why I did it there. Now in the middle section here where kind of the doors come down through, I don't have anything planted in there yet. I'm not quite sure what might go in there, but nothing in there yet. There's enough room in here for another three rows, I think. So there's still, 30% of the high tunnel left. Next row, these are bush beans. Nothing too exciting there. They're looking pretty good though. Next one over here is tomatoes. These also need to get trellised up. It's going to be the same thing where they're going to get connected up to the that's not purlins, the cross pieces, cross beams that go this way. That way they'll get strung up through there. These are what are they, indeterminate, so they don't bush out so much. They tend to grow more straight up. Also, around a lot of the stuff that I've been planting, I've been grabbing some of the compost from that big pile I've got over there and dumping some of that around them. There's a bunch of it, so I'm just trying to use some of that up, get it in here. It's not going to hurt at all to get some more organic matter into this area, because with having had the old barn over here, there were some spots in here that it was just like pure sand, where there was not any organic matter in it anymore. Those have kind of gotten spread around all through here from tilling it enough times, but adding a little bit more organic matter in there definitely is not going to hurt it. Now the next row over here, this is one of the messiest, weediest parts of the high tunnel yet, and this is onions. Got around maybe 800 or 900 of them in here. And I haven't really done a whole lot of weeding with this because they're still so small, but I'm concerned if I'm ripping up all these weeds that the onion starts are going to come out with it. So I'm kind of holding off doing too much with these yet, but they're definitely going to need a lot of work here very soon. The second to final row going right through here, this is peppers. They are not very big yet, and actually this isn't fully planted. There are a few little gaps in between here. I'm kind of waiting to see what I'm going to end up with for the pepper starts that I don't sell, because I've been taking the extra ones to market, and probably whatever I ended up with that people aren't wanting to buy, I'll just throw in here. Whether or not I'll be able to sell any of those, because they'll probably be hot peppers, I don't know, but I've left a few gaps in here where I can fill in yet a little bit more. And then of course the final row here, this is where I kind of transplanted the herbs to. I don't have much of anything through here except right here down at the very end. I've planted in some carrots because I'm not going to do a whole lot of those, and I'm definitely not going to need this whole row for putting in the herbs. I still need to plant in like the basil and dill and stuff like that in this row. So I've got some stuff that I need to get in here yet, but that's not going to take up the whole thing, so I figured I'd just plant this other end with carrots instead of starting a whole new row that needs watering in the middle of the high tunnel. And then of course the only other thing that I've got planted out right now is the potatoes, and as you can see they're doing pretty well. The first two rows have done really well. I guess the third row is pretty good too, but this last shorter row, it's okay. There's probably about as much space where they didn't come up as where they did come up, so not quite sure what's up with that, but the rest of the rows look pretty good, and they're actually looking like it's just about ready to get these things hilled up a little bit more. Maybe run down through the middle with the rototiller, get some of the weeds out of there, get it cleaned up a little bit, but that'll be for a different video. So that is more or less it for kind of the main plant out here for the year. I'll definitely be replanting some stuff, maybe this fall, probably some more greens, maybe some peas, maybe some other types of peas like snap peas or snow peas or whatever. Ones you eat with the pod on. Maybe try doing some of those this fall as well. One thing I didn't do is I didn't try doing any cabbages. I haven't had a lot of good luck with that, so I might try that for fall. We'll see. I won't have as much other stuff going on, so I'll have a little bit more time to screw around with something that may or may not work. But as far as kind of the spring, summer stuff, I think this is pretty well going to be it. The only other thing that I might possibly plant more of are whatever else I'm left with for plant starts that don't sell. Eventually I'm going to just hit a point where, people, either they've got what they're going to plant or they aren't, and they aren't going to, be wanting to buy any more starts at that point. So I don't know, I might add in another row if I've got some more squash or whatever that I haven't sold. I might just, throw them out here and plant them, and, why not? But other than that, this is it. So that's going to be it for today's video. As always, I appreciate you guys watching, and I'll see you next time.